Far away in a star system called Valaris, life was strange and beautiful. The planets glowed in soft colors and crystal forests grew like waves of glass under violet skies. The Clethari, an alien species, lived here for centuries. They were strong, smart, and skilled hunters. Hunting was not only survival but also honor. Every year, the young Clethari tested their skills in the floating forests. Only the fastest, cleverest, and bravest hunters earned respect from the elders. This year was different. A human had arrived. Captain Elias Thorne was tall, calm, and confident. He walked among the alien trees as if he belonged there, but everyone watching knew he was different. Humans were not considered great hunters. Clethari whispered, "He may be clever, but he will fail." Some aliens laughed. Others were curious. Few dared to hope. Elias carried a simple hunting pack. He had tools, a map, and sharp eyes. Unlike the Clethari, humans relied not only on strength but also on intelligence. He studied the crystal patterns on the forest floor. He watched the way light bent through the floating crystals. Every step, every sound mattered. He did not rush. He waited. High above, in the observation towers, a young Clethari named Zira watched. Her eyes were bright with curiosity. She was smaller than the elders, but clever and fierce. She had watched many hunts in her life, but something about this human was different. He moved with quiet confidence, but he respected the forest. He did not destroy plants or scare small creatures. Zira's interest grew. She had never seen a human before, and she could not look away. The hunt began. The Clethari sent out their fastest runners to chase a rare crystal deer. Its antlers glowed softly, reflecting the forest lights. The other aliens dashed through the forest, climbing crystal walls and leaping over sharp rocks. Their movements were perfect, practiced for years. Elias did not run at first. He watched the deer's path, studying it. Then, using clever traps and timing, he cornered the deer without hurting the forest. His approach was strange to the Clethari. He did not rely on speed or brute force. He relied on planning, patience, and understanding. Zira's eyes widened. She could not believe what she saw. The human had captured the deer cleanly and safely. No harm to the forest, no wasted energy, and the animal was respected. The elders whispered among themselves. This human, this small, soft creature, had done what they thought impossible. Zira felt a strange pull toward him. It was not just admiration. Something deeper stirred inside her. After the hunt, Elias approached the observation area. He bowed slightly, respecting the Clethari customs. Zira stepped forward. She had been silent until now. Her voice was clear and strong. "You are unlike any human I have heard of. You do not act recklessly. You do not take what is not yours. You honor the hunt, yet you conquer it." Elias nodded politely. "I respect your ways," he said. "I came to learn and to show that humans can also be strong, clever, and careful. The forest is alive, and we must move with it, not against it." Zira studied him. "Most of my people will not agree with this," she said softly. "But I feel something. I feel that you are special. You are human, yet different. You can survive where others cannot." Elias tilted his head, curious. "Something tells me you are not just watching me for the hunt." Zira smiled slightly. "No, I am watching you because you are interesting. There is something in you that I want to understand. Something I cannot explain yet." The elders frowned. This was unusual. A young Clethari speaking like this had never happened before. Normally they would warn her, remind her of tradition, or scold her for being bold. But Zira ignored them. Her gaze never left Elias. Days passed. Elias continued to explore the forest. He tracked creatures, studied the strange plants, and solved challenges that the Clethari thought impossible. Each day Zira followed quietly, learning from him, studying him. She noticed small things, the way he listened to the wind, how he predicted where water would appear, and how he understood the patterns of the forest. One evening, as the two rested near a glowing crystal pond, Zira spoke again. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. "I want to join you. I want to be part of what you do. Not as a student, but as a partner. My people may not approve, but I will not care." Elias looked at her carefully. "You are brave to say this. But joining me is not simple. It is not just hunting. It is survival, learning, and trust. Are you ready for that?" Zira nodded. "I am ready. And more than that, I want to carry something of you. I want to carry your legacy. I want your strength in a way that no one has done before." Elias froze. He had heard of strange customs among alien species, but nothing like this. Shira, the young Clethuri, wanted to carry his offspring. It was a bold request and no one had ever asked it. But he sensed honesty, courage, and something far more powerful than words in her eyes. He took a deep breath. "I do not know if it is possible," he said, "but I will consider it. Your honesty, your courage, and your instincts are impressive. If we are to work together, we must earn trust from each other first." Shira smiled. "Then let us begin. We have much to show each other, much to prove. Let the elders watch, let them judge. I know what I feel, and it is stronger than any tradition." The first part of their story had begun. The human had entered the Clethari world and changed it already. The young alien had chosen him, not because of power, but because of understanding, respect, and courage. Together, they would face trials that no one could imagine. But for now, the forest was calm, the crystals glowed, and two very different beings had found a connection that would shape the future. The stars above Velaris shone brightly that night, as if acknowledging the bond forming below, a human and a Clethuri, beginning a story of survival, trust, and legacy that neither species had ever seen before. The next morning, the crystal forest glowed under twin suns, casting long shadows across the sparkling ground. Elias and Zira stood at the edge of the grand labyrinth, a place of mystery and danger. The elders of the Clethari had decided that if Elias and Zira were to bond in the way she desired, they would first need to face a trial together. The crystal labyrinth was said to test not only strength but also trust, intelligence, and courage. Elias examined the entrance. The labyrinth walls were made of giant, translucent crystals that reflected light in confusing patterns. The paths shifted with every step, and traps were hidden within the glowing walls. Some paths led to dead ends, others to peril. Elias could see why the Clethari revered this place. Zira's eyes shone with determination. "We must move carefully," she said. "Every wrong step can be dangerous, but I know we can do this together." Elias nodded. "Then we begin. Trust is as important as skill. We will watch each other, learn each other, and move as one." The two stepped into the labyrinth. Immediately the walls shifted behind them. A soft hum vibrated through the crystal ground. Small creatures, invisible at first, began to scuttle and hiss as they sensed the intruders. Elias paused, noticing patterns in the vibrations. He predicted the creatures' movements and guided Zira through narrow gaps. Her agility and speed were unmatched. Together they avoided the first threat without harm. As they moved deeper, the labyrinth tested their minds. Floating crystals rearranged themselves to form puzzles. Symbols glowed on the walls, and only by touching the right sequence could the path forward appear. Elias observed carefully. He had learned human logic and combined it with observation of the Clethari patterns. Zira watched his technique and followed his lead. They communicated silently, pointing, nodding, and timing their movements perfectly. Hours passed. Their coordination grew. Every success strengthened their bond. Zira was amazed at Elias's patience. While some humans might have rushed and failed, he moved with calm certainty. He respected the labyrinth, the creatures, and even the glowing crystals themselves. Then came the first real challenge. A bridge of crystal shards stretched across a deep chasm. Each shard wobbled dangerously, and a single misstep could send one falling into the glowing abyss below. Zira went first, her Clethari training making her swift and precise. Elias followed, calculating each step. But midway, a shard cracked under her weight. Shira froze. Elias acted instantly. He reached out, supporting her with a steady hand. Together they balanced and crossed safely. Zira's heart pounded, but admiration for the human beside her grew stronger. He had saved her without hesitation, showing not just strength but thoughtfulness and courage. After crossing, they entered a chamber where light and shadow danced like waves. Strange creatures emerged, resembling crystal lizards with glowing eyes. They attacked in groups, testing speed, reflexes, and decision-making. Elias dodged quickly, using momentum and anticipation rather than force. Zira followed, mirroring his movements. Together they moved like a single unit. One creature lunged at Zira from the side. She stumbled, but Elias caught her again. His human instinct to protect, combined with his understanding of strategy, kept them alive. When the creatures finally retreated, Zira laughed softly, relief in her voice. "You are more than clever, Elias. You are extraordinary." Elias smiled. "And you are fearless, Zira. This labyrinth would have defeated many, but not us. We trust each other, and that is our greatest strength." The final test awaited them at the center of the labyrinth. a massive crystal chamber with a pedestal at its heart. On the pedestal rested a glowing orb, said to contain the wisdom of the labyrinth itself. To reach it, they would need to cross a shifting floor, where each step could vanish without warning. Gira went first, testing the stones carefully. Elias followed, matching her pace. As they reached the center, the floor began to collapse beneath them. They had to act quickly. Elias grabbed Zira's hand, pulling her forward with precise timing. Step by step, they reached the pedestal together. The orb pulsed with light and a soft hum filled the chamber. Elias touched it gently, feeling knowledge flow through him. The history of the labyrinth, the patterns of the creatures, and the wisdom of generations. Gira watched, sensing his strength not only in body but in mind. Humans, she realized, were capable of incredible insight and adaptability. When they finally stepped back, the labyrinth walls shifted once more, opening a path to the outside world. The trial was complete. Both were exhausted but exhilarated. Gira looked at Elias, her eyes reflecting awe and something deeper. "We did it," she said. Together, Elias nodded. "Yes, together we have proven more than skill. We have proven trust, intelligence, and respect. The elders will see that humans are capable of far more than they imagined." Back outside, the Clithari elders watched in silence. They had doubted, whispered, and expected failure, but they could not deny what they saw. Elias and Zira had not only survived the labyrinth, they had mastered it using strategy, courage, and cooperation. Gira stepped forward, holding her head high. "Elders, this human has shown qualities our people admire most: courage, intelligence, respect, and resilience. I still wish to carry his offspring, to blend our strengths into a future together." The elders exchanged glances. It was unusual, even unheard of, but they could see the truth in her words and in their actions. Elias had proven himself, not only as a hunter but as a partner capable of extraordinary thought and leadership. Gira turned to Elias. "The path ahead is uncertain, but I know one thing: I trust you. I choose you." Elias smiled, feeling a mix of pride and responsibility. "I accept your trust, and I will do everything to honor it." The bond between them had begun not in words but in action, courage, and shared trials. They had faced the labyrinth, conquered its challenges, and emerged stronger, not just as individuals, but as a team. As the twin suns of Velaris began to set, casting long shadows over the forest, Zira and Elias stood together, ready for whatever the future might bring. The elders nodded in silent approval. The first step toward a new legacy, one that would unite human and Clithari, had been taken. The forest seemed to hum around them, acknowledging their achievement. Every leaf, every crystal, every creature seemed to recognize the bond they had forged. It was not just survival. It was trust, respect, and the beginning of something much greater. For Zira, Elias was no longer just a human. He was a partner, a symbol of strength, and a future she wanted to build with. For Elias, Zira was more than an alien observer. She was brave, intelligent, and full of spirit. Together, they had faced danger, solved impossible puzzles, and learned that combining human insight with Clithari skill could achieve the extraordinary. The real adventure was just beginning. The forest of Velaris was calm that morning, with soft light spilling through the floating crystals. Elias and Zira stood at the edge of the grand labyrinth, looking out over the trees that glimmered like glass. The trial was over, but their journey was only beginning. The elders of the Clithari had acknowledged their bond, and Zira's wish to carry Elias's offspring had been accepted. It was more than a personal choice. It was a symbol of unity between two very different species. Elias looked at Zira. "This is a big step," he said softly. "Not just for us, but for both our peoples. We need to be careful, patient, and strong." Gira nodded. "I know, but I also know that together we can face whatever comes. I trust you, Elias, and I believe our child will be a bridge between humans and Clithari." The two returned to the Clithari settlement, walking through the glowing paths. The inhabitants watched with a mixture of awe and curiosity. Some whispered in disbelief, while others observed in quiet respect. Elias's calm confidence and Zira's determination made it clear that this was no ordinary bond. It was an example of what could happen when understanding, respect, and courage came together. Over the next weeks, Elias and Zira spent their time learning from each other. Elias studied Clithari customs, their language, and their ways of interacting with the forest. Zira in turn learned about human resilience, strategy, and problem-solving. Together they shared knowledge that neither species had seen before. One evening, as the twin suns set and the crystals glowed gold, Zira spoke. "Our child will inherit both our strengths, the wisdom of the Clithery and the ingenuity of humans. Perhaps this will change the way our worlds see each other." Elias smiled. "Yes, and it is not just about strength. It is about cooperation, trust, and understanding. If we teach both our peoples to respect each other, our child will grow in a world ready for unity, not conflict." Time passed, and Zira began to show signs of carrying their offspring. It was a careful process, guided by both human science and Clithari knowledge. They monitored her health, taught her about the shared responsibilities, and prepared for the future. The Clithari elders supported them quietly, realizing that this union could bring new wisdom and understanding to their people. During this time, Zira often reflected on the first day she saw Elias in the forest. She remembered how he had moved with care, how he had respected the life around him, and how he had faced challenges with intelligence and courage. She had admired him then, but now her admiration had deepened into trust, respect, and hope. Elias, too, thought about their journey. He had come to Velaris to prove humanity's abilities, but he had gained something far greater: a partner, a friend, and a chance to build a legacy that could last generations. He saw how humans and Clithari could learn from each other, grow together, and create something stronger than either could alone. One day, Zira led Elias to a clearing in the forest. The crystals there were larger than anywhere else, forming natural towers that reflected the sunlight in dazzling patterns. "This will be our home," she said, "a place where we can raise our child, safe and surrounded by the wisdom of the forest." Elias looked around, feeling the harmony of the place. "It is perfect," he said. "Not just a home, but a symbol, a reminder that humans and Clithari can work together, respect each other, and create something lasting." They began to build their life together in the crystal clearing. Simple homes, respectful of the environment, were constructed with both human ingenuity and Clithari craft. Paths were laid carefully, preserving the natural beauty of the forest. Together they cultivated plants, studied creatures, and continued learning from each other. Every day was a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to grow stronger. As months passed, the bond between Elias and Zira deepened. Their cooperation and respect became an example to all. Young Clithari watched them and learned. Other humans in nearby colonies began to see the strength of patience, understanding, and courage. The child they would bring into the world represented not only their bond, but a new era of unity between species. When the day finally came, Zira gave birth in the crystal clearing, under the soft light of the twin suns. The child was healthy, strong, and alert, a perfect blend of human resilience and Clithari grace. Both species marveled at the child, seeing in it a future full of potential. Elias held the child gently, feeling the warmth and life in his arms. "We have done something extraordinary," he said softly. "This child is more than a gift. It is hope, a promise of unity, and a symbol of what humans can achieve when they combine strength, courage, and understanding." Zira rested beside him, smiling. "And it is more than that. It is a legacy we will continue to nurture. Humans and Clithari can learn from each other, respect each other, and grow together. Our child is proof that anything is possible when we trust and work together." The Clithari elders approached, offering quiet blessings. Their initial doubts were replaced with respect and admiration. The union had surpassed tradition, expectation, and fear. It had created something new and wonderful, a bridge between two worlds. In the months that followed, humans and Clithari began exchanging ideas, skills, and knowledge more freely. The story of Elias and Zira spread across the star system. People spoke of a human who had not only survived alien trials, but had also proven that humanity could combine intelligence, courage, and compassion to achieve the extraordinary. Zira watched her child grow, feeling pride and hope. Elias trained with the child, teaching observation, strategy, and respect for the forest. The hybrid child became a living example of human potential, Clithari wisdom, and the possibilities that arise when two species work together. Years later, when the child was old enough to explore the crystal forests, Zira and Elias would tell stories of the labyrinth, the trials, and the courage it took to trust each other. They would tell of how humans could rise above expectations, respect life, and leave a legacy far beyond their own species. The forest itself seemed to hum with approval. The crystals reflected light in patterns that no one had seen before, as if celebrating the bond that had formed, the legacy that had begun, and the hope for a future where humans and Clethari stood together. Elias looked at Zira and their child, feeling a sense of accomplishment that went far beyond personal achievement. "This is what humans can do," he said quietly. "We can survive, adapt, and inspire. We can build bridges, not walls. We can create legacies that last far longer than ourselves." Zira smiled, her eyes bright with love and hope. "And we will. Together with our child, we will show both our worlds that courage, respect, and understanding are stronger than fear and doubt. Humanity's strength is not only in battle or skill, it is in heart, mind, and the ability to unite." As the twin suns set once more over Velaris, Elias, Zira, and their child stood in the crystal clearing, ready to face whatever the future held. The trials were over, but the legacy was just beginning. And in that moment, humanity had left a mark that no alien world could forget.